How to forgive the unforgivable. Jesus' unseen miracle. Come closer, child. I know what they did to you. I know the betrayal, the wound that still aches when no one sees. You've been told to forgive, but it feels impossible, too unfair, too painful. Yet I have come to show you a freedom deeper than your hurt. Stay with me in this story, and you will see how I turn pain into peace, chains into release, and hatred into a miracle of love. Before this video ends, you may discover the power to forgive the unforgivable and finally be free. I walked among the villages of Galilee, where the air smelled of bread just taken from stone ovens and of nets drying in the sun. Children ran barefoot on the dusty streets, and merchants called out their prices for figs, oil, and fish. The rhythm of life was simple. Sunrise meant work, sunset meant gathering with family, prayer, and rest. People longed for peace, but many carried secret wounds, betrayals, insults, losses that no one else could see. I saw fishermen whose hands were rough, but whose hearts were tender. I watched mothers kneading dough, whispering prayers for sons who had turned cold or bitter. I saw men clutching grudges like stones they were unwilling to drop, afraid that to release them would make them weak. I felt their unspoken thought. Some things can never be forgiven. One afternoon, I sat with my disciples beneath the shade of an olive tree. They were young, strong, and hopeful, but also human. Peter, always quick to speak, asked me about forgiveness. "Lord," he said, "how many times should I forgive my brother if he sins against me? Up to 7 times? He thought 7 was generous. He thought he was being merciful. I smiled gently and looked at him, not to shame him, but to awaken something deeper. "I tell you, not 7 times, but 70 times 7. I could see his surprise. To him, to them, forgiveness seemed like a noble but exhausting act, something you give until you run out. They didn't yet understand that forgiveness flows from a well that does not run dry. They were about to witness why. We were traveling to Jerusalem when word reached us about a man named Eliab. He had once been a close friend of one of my followers, a man named Simeon. They had grown up together, played in the same fields, shared bread at the same tables. But years earlier, Eliab betrayed Simeon's family in a business deal that left them ruined. Simeon's father lost his livelihood. His mother wept until her eyes ached. From that day, Simeon carried a heavy bitterness. He would speak kindly of many, but not of Eliab. When he learned that Eliab was nearby, Simeon's face hardened, his fists clenched. "Master," he said quietly to me, "do not ask me to forgive him. He destroyed my family's life. He is the reason my father died in shame. He is the reason my mother lives with sorrow." His words trembled with long-stored pain. That night, we camped under the stars. While the others slept, Simeon sat apart, staring at the fire. I joined him. The night was cool and the firelight flickered across his face. "I cannot forgive him," he said, not looking at me. "He does not deserve it." I was silent for a moment, letting the weight of his wound breathe. Then I said softly, "Simeon, what do you carry when you refuse forgiveness?" He stared at the flames. "I carry justice," he said. "I carry the memory so no one forgets what he did." "But what else?" I asked. His shoulders sank. "I carry anger. I carry pain." I touched his shoulder. "Unforgiveness is a prison that locks from the inside. You hold the key, but the bars feel safer than freedom." He shook his head. "But Master, if I forgive, does it mean what he did is right?" "No," I said. "Forgiveness does not say the wound was small. Forgiveness says the wound will not define your life. It releases you from the power of the hurt. It places the weight of justice in my Father's hands." He listened but remained bound. His wound was deep. He needed more than words. He needed to see what forgiveness could do. 2 days later, we arrived at a small village where Eliab lived. As we entered, villagers crowded the streets, eager to hear me teach. Among them, I saw Eliab, older now, worn, his eyes downcast. He did not notice Simeon at first, but when their eyes met, the air seemed to tighten. Simeon froze, his jaw set, every muscle in his body screaming with memory. I taught about the kingdom of God, about love that stretches beyond reason, about mercy that breaks chains. Yet I felt Simeon's heart wrestling. The old wound pulsed like a fresh cut. When the teaching ended, people pressed forward for prayer. Eliab hesitated, then stepped closer. His voice shook as he asked, "Rabbi, is there hope for a man who has destroyed lives?" Simeon's breath caught. This was the man who had crushed his family. I looked at Eliab with the love of the Father, love that sees sin, yet does not turn away. "There is hope," I said. "For every soul who turns and humbles himself, there is hope." Tears filled Eliab's eyes. "I was a thief. I was greedy. I betrayed trust. I have carried shame every day, but I do not know how to make it right." The crowd murmured. Some looked away, uncomfortable. Others leaned in, sensing something holy was happening. I turned to Simeon, whose face burned with anger and pain. "Simeon," I said quietly but firmly, "come." He stepped forward, trembling. His fists were still tight. "Look at him," I said. Simeon's eyes met Eliab's. Rage, grief, and confusion swirled inside him. You ruined us," he said, his voice breaking. "Do you know what you did to my father, to my mother?" Eliab dropped to his knees. "I know," he whispered, "and I cannot undo it." The silence was heavy, sacred. Everyone waited. I spoke to Simeon. "The wound is real, the pain is real. But so is the freedom I offer. Forgive, not because he earned it, but because my Father forgave you. Forgive, and you will be free." Simeon shook, tears streaming down his face. He looked at Eliab, broken, repentant, and something in him cracked wide open. Years of hate met the presence of perfect love. Through sobs, Simeon said, I forgive you." And in that moment, the prison door swung open. The instant Simeon spoke those words, his whole body seemed lighter. He fell to his knees, weeping, not from defeat, but release. Eliab, stunned, buried his face in his hands. The crowd held its breath. I knelt beside them both. "This," I said softly, "is the miracle no one sees. The blind may receive sight, the lame may walk, but when a wounded heart forgives, heaven rejoices. My Father is pleased." Simeon sobbed into my robe. "It feels like chains breaking," he said. "Yes," I whispered. "That is what forgiveness does." Later that night, Simeon came to me again, eyes still red but shining with peace. "Master," he said, "I feel free for the first time since I was a boy. I thought forgiveness was for him, but it was for me." I smiled. "That is why I teach you to forgive 70 times 7. Forgiveness keeps you free." He nodded, finally understanding. "My beloved friends, you must know, forgiveness is not weakness. It is strength born of heaven. When you forgive, you are not excusing sin. You are trusting my Father with justice. You are choosing freedom over bondage. You are living the love I showed when I stretched out my hands on the cross and said, 'Father, forgive them.' You will meet people who hurt you deeply, friends who betray, family who wound, strangers who harm. Some wounds may feel impossible to forgive, but remember, my power is made perfect in your weakness. I do not ask you to forgive alone. I live in you to give you strength beyond yourself. I forgave those who mocked me, spat on me, drove nails through my hands. I forgave because my Father sent me to break the cycle of hate and sin, and I call you to follow me there. Not because it is easy, but because it is life. My child, I know the hurt you carry. I see the face of the one who wronged you. I know the sleepless nights, the quiet tears, the silent anger. I know what was taken from you. I am not distant from your pain. I am near. Today, I whisper, you can forgive. Not by your own strength, but by mine. You can open the prison door and step into freedom. You can trust me with the justice you long for. You can live unchained. If you have been holding on to bitterness, I invite you, right now, to lay it down. Speak their name if you must. Tell me your anger. Tell me your fear. And then say, I forgive. You may not feel it fully yet, but start. I will meet you there. And if this message is stirring something deep within you, stay with me. Let my words bring healing. Subscribe, remain close, and walk with me as I teach you freedom that cannot be taken. You are not alone. You are loved. I am Jesus. I call you to forgive, not to forget, not to pretend it did not hurt, but to live free. The miracle of forgiveness is my unseen work in you. It changes your heart, your future, your eternity. Come to me, follow me, walk in freedom, and let the world see that forgiveness is possible, because with me, nothing is impossible. You have walked with me through this story and felt the weight of forgiveness lift. This freedom is what I came to give. Do not let bitterness hold you one more day. Walk with me. Keep learning to live free and whole. Subscribe and stay close. Each story I tell will guide you deeper into healing and hope. You are loved, you are seen, and you are never alone.